Hello Virgo, welcome to your December 2017 reading. Thanks so much for being here. I am coming to you from the United States, visiting my mother in Idaho, standing in my grandfather's old hobby shop, which is why I have all the planes and cars and everything. Let's go ahead and begin with your astrology highlight, okay? Because we have some big things going on in the sky as per Western astrology, all right? Saturn moving from Sagittarius into Capricorn, which rules your 5th house. Now, this is kind of not the most friendly placement for Saturn, but it's not the worst either, okay? It's just going to be a reminder for you to lighten up, you know, because I think this can be have a very serious effect and kind of impede creativity a little bit. 5th house representing creativity in terms of children, in terms of dating, and in terms of just creative efforts and in creative outlets in general. Saturn wanting to do the work, and you know, he kind of can suck the fun out of things. So especially for those of you who are dating, just be aware and be cognizant of any desire to like take it too slow or to not be very spontaneous. You know, you're a Virgo earth sign energy, so that's kind of can sometimes be need a little bit of extra effort anyway, so now you might need a little bit more, okay? Now with Venus happening, transiting into Sagittarius, your 4th house, I think there could be a lot of focus on your home and decorating your home, making it a little bit more comfortable, spending time and effort and energy in either, some of you even finding a place as well, finding a place and kind of settling and making it more of a representative of who you are. Mercury retrograde in the same part of the sky though can cause for some miscommunications. If you're ordering, you know, curtains online or something, perhaps it could get lost, and so just be cognizant of how you are going about doing things. Dot your I's, cross your T's in the process, and you should be fine. All right, thanks so much Virgo, and I will see you next month. Bye. Hello Virgo, welcome to your December 2017 reading. Thank you so much for being here. We got one popping out for you, so let's go ahead and start with that. So this is my new deck. I call it my Bali edition. It's just images from my trip to Bali and some very meaningful experiences that I had there. And I have a very close personal connection. It's not currently for sale, but just kind of something I thought I would use. So here we have the 3 of Cups, okay? This can be a card of being social, going out, being with your friends, and feeling a life of abundance, feeling grateful for those things that you have. There can be a little bit of, you know, gossipiness here, or some of you may find yourself in a little bit of a love triangle if we're kind of coming at it from that angle. Or some of you might just be letting loose a little bit, you know, letting your hair down, having fun, and just enjoying. As much as I always am like, the getting away from the superficiality of life, but sometimes it is those superficial things like going to the bar and having a drink with your girlfriends, or, you know, going shopping, or, you know, doing a hobby thing, or rock climbing with your buddies, or whatever it is. It's those kinds of things that make life so enjoyable. And I feel that that's kind of where this card is coming from, more from the enjoyment factor. But let's see what else comes out, because I could get more detail. And the 5 of Cups. You know, these are actually in stark contrast with one another. Some of you are feeling a sense of loss, or a sense of sadness, a sense of longing towards something. Some of us may be feeling quite alone, and that's maybe why this is going to be a very important card for you, right? To get out of your head a little bit, and you know, because Virgo, I'm a Virgo, I get it. We can fester, we can hang on to things, we can suppress things very easily because we don't want the world to see how vulnerable we actually are. And I think that this would be a good means or a good outlet through which you can kind of let it out without actually letting it out. You know what I mean? Without getting in touch with that vulnerability or letting other people see it, but dealing with it at the same time, because this can be very cold and it can be a very sad place. But it's important for you to recognize what you do have, to recognize whatever, the freedom that you have, to recognize the family that loves you, to recognize the quality of your job or whatever it is. To see, oh, I'm going to say something so cliche and I'm kind of hating myself for it already, but I'm going to say it anyway. To see the glass as half full as opposed to half empty. Okay, there we go. Don't hate on me too much, but you know what I mean. And the Seven of Cups. This can be a card of feeling confused by options or overwhelmed by options, or feeling like things are just kind of up in the air and you're feeling very unsure. There's a sense of disconnectedness from you. You might be separating yourself. And maybe even with this here, it's like physically you're present, physically you're there, physically you're engaging, but emotionally and mentally, you're just in a whole other world. And I don't know, I don't see that as being a negative thing, because sometimes this can help to ground us. But look, cups, cups, cups. You're all in your feels right now. You're all in your emotions. And that can be hard for people to, you know, to get in. Sorry, let's make sure my camera's still going. Okay, to get in. Maybe you don't want people in, I don't know, but I sense a dream world. You're not engaging in the reality right now with these three cards. I may change my tune with more cards, but it's so lofty almost. Though I don't know why this came to me, but the word expectations came to my mind. So I don't know if it's, what are the expectations? Have your expectations not been met? What are the expectations of yourself versus the expectations of others? Three of Wands. I often see this as a card of waiting, but also curiosity. Curiosity about what's over there, you know, standing on one side of the lake and then looking over to the other side, and, you know, and so here you are in the present moment, but yet you're curious about what's over there. So there is this distance. There is this reaching for something that isn't tangible, or something that isn't real, or something that is virtual, right? Because we have that virtual aspect of the Seven of Cups, which can represent, you know, whether it's something via the internet or something, you know, for those of you who are dating, it's just kind of like swiping, but not really going out on dates, or going out on dates and not really being present in those dates because you're so worried about something in the past. Like there's something very intangible about what's going on here. Three of Wands. Who are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? What are you desiring to know? You know, I often see this as communications coming to you, but they're not there yet. Wondering, what is it going to be? What is it going to say? What's the answer? A limbo. This sociality, sociality, is that a word? Being social, I think will help pull you out of the clouds, if you will. I think it will pull you out of the clouds and help bring you down to earth a little bit. Or at least help you get your mind off it just for a little while. and the world. And I chose gates to a temple for the world. You know, the rite of passage, earning your way through the gateway, earning your way through the doors. This is not overnight. It's not sudden, you know. It's gradual and it is earned. Now, I'm wondering, I don't know why this entered my mind. It might not speak to everyone. I'm wondering if what is happening here is reminiscent of something in the past, and there seems to be some kind of fight to not let that happen again. You know, because you see the thing, you see the issue, you see the problem for what it is, and you are remaining detached enough from your emotions because Virgo's so practical, so clear on the details and the nitty-gritty, because you are just naturally that way. You are able to analyze the emotion to not indulge again, because this being in the first card tells me that this is something that you've either been dealing with for a while, or something has come back, sort of resurfaced and kind of has confused you a little bit, and now you're like kind of not sure and you're waiting for that clarity, right? But at the same time, you're not really doing anything. I'm not seeing any cards of action right now, and I think your lack of action is sort of you stepping through this gateway because you don't want to repeat, you don't want to go backwards. You more than anyone is so hard on yourself that you won't allow yourself to fall back into past patterns, and therefore you see the gate right in front of you, and it's so like just right there, and you know that once you walk through that door that all of this will go away. And maybe there's a little bit of an internal struggle, right? Because this is so tempting and so like it feels good and it kind of indulges in hope and possibility, you know, but yet you see that door, that rite of passage. Like, you know that you've earned something. You know that you've earned something more solid. Now, this doesn't have to always be in terms of relationships. This can just be in terms of something that you're going through, okay? And now we have the Six of Wands. You know, and I like, this is like a surfer holding up his little peace sign, you know, peace be with the world, peace will all be good, everything's good, you know. And it is a card of celebratory nature, a card of victory, right? The surfer that rides that wave, riding the wave, you know, have you ridden the wave? And I feel that there is a sense of conquering obstacles here with that Six of Wands. And it speaks very, very well with the world, you know, that victory that has occurred. Even though it's still present, you want to be victorious over that. Your social networks are really going to be playing a part in that. Your connections with others, your friends, your family, the people that you love, the people that can offer advice, right? And not, you know, indulging in like with your going out with your girlfriends and like, oh, that guy is such a jerk, you deserve so much better. That's not what I mean. I think more productive conversations happening here, even in spite of that superficiality element. You're just kind of hanging out there, Virgo, aren't you? Just kind of hanging out, waiting for what comes next. Waiting for that bolt of lightning moment to be like, okay, now I know what I'm doing. Because Virgo doesn't like to be just hung up. It's not your preferred place to be. You prefer to be on track. But if there's no track in front of you, you know, you got to kind of figure out what's going on first before you can take the next steps. And we have the Seven of Pentacles. You know, are you feeling somewhat dissatisfied with something in your life? You've done a lot, you've accomplished a lot, your mind is different, your outlook on life is different, and now here you are kind of finding yourself stuck in similar patterns doing the same thing, but yet your return on investment is not as great as you would like. So Seven of Pentacles to me represents or indicates a pivotal moment, and having that connection with the Seven of Cups, Seven of Pentacles, the number 7, you know, that those are pivotal cards for me. They indicate that point and that time where you say enough is enough, and I gotta do it differently, because if I keep doing the same thing over and over, I'm gonna go insane, you know, and I don't want that. So being on that mission to do it differently and to have it in a different way. And you worked hard, and you're not afraid to work hard. You're not afraid to invest what needs to be invested, but you just want to make sure that you're investing in the right places and with the right people. And the Nine of Wands being a card of guardedness, being a card of, you know, the gates. And I even chose this one specifically because it had the contrasting shadows of the light and the dark, because sometimes things aren't so clear. And sometimes we are kind of stuck in this, am I protecting against the right things kind of thing. And I believe that you will know when it is time to open the gates. You will know when it is time to stop being so guarded and to let things flow in freely. I believe this guarded nature here is merely temporary until you've walked through those doors. But because you're not quite there yet, you haven't quite reached the end, you therefore are holding off on anything new projects going on the back burner. Now you can get things prepared, but it's like there's not a lot of action towards those things yet. You're still riding the wave, perhaps. And this includes relationships, guys. None of you are jumping into anything without thinking. None of you are just falling in love without ensuring that there's like something substantial there. If you're already in relationships, likely this isn't speaking about your current relationship, but rather just your direction in life or your direction with your partner, where you're going together. Okay. And Justice. See, these are so powerful. Justice is neutral. She's objective. She sees the truth for what it is. She sees everything from start to finish. She knows the whole plan, and she will adjust energies and people to be in the right places at the right time. And I believe she's on your side. You know, she doesn't really care. Like I said, if you go through a hard time, it's all for something else, right? She represents the pendulum and the natural laws of the universe. And with the stars moving the way they do, it's that rhythm, you know, the tension and that buildup and then the release, and the tension and the release. And we're always going through this back and forth, always, always, always. And here she is sort of overseeing, kind of like a conductor for the orchestra, sort of conducting everything. And right now what I think is happening is like a section break. I don't know how familiar you guys are with, you know, the symphony and all that, but, you know, if the conductor still has their hands up, you don't clap. And they take a break and they move into the next section. And I feel that that is kind of what's happening. The conductor has, Lady Justice has her hands up. And we're all just like waiting with bated breath to see what the new section comes in, how it sounds, what it's going to feel like, how it's going to make us feel, you know, and that moment, that break is when you walk through the door, when you land on shore and you can celebrate your success, right? So it's limbo, and it's okay. Lady Justice is there. She is conducting the orchestra or the symphony of your life, and it's not so dramatic You know, Leo didn't have a very dramatic reading either. Taurus and Gemini kind of got a little bit of a brunt of it. But, you know, I think that this month, things with this Saturn transit, it's just like, oh, we're all just waiting for it to move so that we can feel like we can finally be productive again. You know, when a planet hits the last degrees of a sign, it's so common for it to feel like it's just clinging and begging to just stay, right? It's just like, oh, don't let me move. It kind of feels like, I don't know, it just feels like things don't want to move, and it keeps everything up in the air, and I think that's kind of what's happening. So to cap everything off, the Ten of Swords. And I kind of did these masks because Ten of Swords is like, you've already thought all the thoughts. And I feel like maybe you're even feeling tired of this here. Like you're growing wary of this place. You've thought all the thoughts. You know, things have kind of maybe disappointed you, which is why you're not reverting back. You're not recycling behavior. You're ready to step through. You're ready to go from the Ten of Swords to the Ace of Swords, to that new thing. And you're just kind of exhausted. You're just kind of done, you know. And so that every thought, every mask you can wear, every person, every element of your personality has just been kind of exhausted, and you're just where you are. And I think that's why this card came out first, because it's so important for you to just get out and just go have fun. Just enjoy yourself. There's no need to push, because she'll get you where you need to go, 100%, no question about it. And to accept this transitionary place of your life, accept it, roll with it, and enjoy it. You know, just have fun. And a Knight of Swords. This is a card of Gemini. Interesting that we have your fellow Mercury ruled sign being represented here. And this is even to me a Gemini type of thing, the social aspect of Gemini, right? Just go out, be connected, have fun, and, you know, indulge in that fun part of life. It's not happiness, it's more distractive, because I think you know that you're in this limbo, and you know that at some point you'll get that bolt of lightning. But until that time comes, just don't stress. No, we got a couple others popping out here. So we'll grab them. Seven of Swords. So we've got 3 7s. The 9 of Swords. Maybe some of you are a little bit more affected by this limbo or this hiatus than I think. But you're doing it to yourself, you know. And if you're in a love situation and maybe things aren't solidifying, things aren't moving forward, maybe you are getting really in your head, maybe you see repeated patterns happening. 7 of Swords can represent fears and doubts and questions and things just like totally killing it. There's an element of self-sabotage. There's an element of stopping things, you know. 9 of Swords, 7 of Swords, those, well, I mean, let's be honest, 10, 7, and 9, you know, those are the most challenging sword cards. 3 of the most. And it has to do with your mind, has to do with what you're thinking, which is kind of maybe interesting. I'm seeing a toggle between the emotions up here and the thoughts here, which is kind of practically keeping you in that stunted place. 7 of Pentacles, that pivotal place. How to think, how to feel, how to understand what's going on. Look, you're just going to have to accept that it's up in the air right now. You're just going to have to accept that there's not a lot of substance. There's not a lot of anything to grab onto. And yes, your curiosity about what could be, or your curiosity of why the grass is greener on the other side, or whatever it is, it's just not going to be appeased. And so there is a message here to kind of just accept what is, to not push or to expect anything, because I think come the new year, things are going to rapidly change. So to not be so invested in any kind of outcome or result because it's just stressing you out. anyway. Okay? Yeah, so I'm going to leave you with that, you guys. I hope you got something out of it. I wish you guys nothing but the best. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next month. Bye.